Well, let's talk to Aramesh, who's the international political analyst, and he joins me from Houston in Texas. Good morning, Arash, and thanks so much for joining us. So, is it, as Dilma Rousseff says, a coup and a farce?
It's definitely not a coup, and she's using that for a particular political purpose. She was a prisoner in the 70s during the reign of the generals, the very generals who actually, if you have a coup d'état, you need the military taken over a civilian government. This is not a coup, but she's definitely employing a certain political vocabulary to try to incite some excitement, anger, and fear in her base that being removed unjustly from the office. Now, whether she's being removed unjustly from the office or whether these allegations are all 100% accurate and just, that's a whole different matter. But it boils down to this. The country is suffering from massive corruption. Her and her government and members of her party tried to manipulate the books by trying to hide the actual extent of the country's debt. Not only her party, but also the opposition is extremely, neck deep involved in corruption. And fourth, she did not have the skills and the ability required to be able to manage this situation politically, as Brazil, as you know, is the 7th largest economy in the world and the largest economy in Latin America.
So, Arash, now that Temer is the acting president, do you think he is going to be the one who'll be able to sort Brazil out, as it were?
Perhaps. It's not going to be something that he can accomplish overnight. And actually, as a matter of fact, I'm not very hopeful. Temer comes from a more of a centrist political base. He has a long history with working with Congress. Socialist members of the Brazilian Congress have gone on the record saying that he understands the quote-unquote logic of how to deal with congressional members in the Brazilian system. So. But his job really is to do two things. A, to try to keep a lid on this political fiasco that has now engulfed Brazil in flames. And B, try to jumpstart this stagnating economy that has now been in a recession for quite some time. And there are many, many reasons for that. But it is undeniable that the Workers' Party and the party of Dilma Rousseff and her predecessor, Lula da Silva, her mentor, they actually have a political base. There are people who were lifted out of poverty and were given social services. About a quarter of the Brazilian population has enjoyed some of these services. Some of those people actually fear that the new president or the acting president, Temer, would cut back some of those benefits. But again, that is just one issue here. The big issue is that this large, major economy in Latin America, for that matter in the world, is stagnant. The currency has been declining, and it has to get a jump start. Now, with political uncertainty and instability, it makes the prospects of a better economy just much, much harder to imagine.
And how do you think she's going to fare in this trial? Because she does actually have a reputation as an honest politician.
And that's what makes this whole issue rather confusing for people on the right or on the left. Adding to that is the fact that a large number of those parliamentarians or those members of the Senate in the Brazilian Senate, they are themselves under either investigation or indictment for corruption. The Petrobras company, a major oil company in Brazil that is neck deep involved in a lot of kickbacks and corruption. A large group of the elites in Brazil are now accused of having been involved in a lot of sort of under the table dealings. And a lot of these folks who now voted to bring in articles of impeachment and trial against President Rousseff are they themselves, both from the left and the right, the opposition and the government in power, are now accused of this. So it's just a very murky situation. I don't think she has a great chance of survival unless something changes significantly in the political landscape, especially in the sort of a public opinion landscape of Brazil. As you know, over 60% of Brazilians want her gone.
Okay, Arash, thank you so much. The international political analyst, Aramesh, they're talking to us from Houston in Texas.